Hello and welcome to this demo video. Before we get started, I'd just like to explain to you a few things which will relate to all of the basic range spreadsheets. Number one, there is a key on the intro and setup tab of all of the spreadsheets showing what the different color headers mean. The blue headers mean that the cell's formulated, so it's locked and you can't change it. The yellow headers are where you can input data, and occasionally there might be some gray headers, which is just a different kind of data input, but we'll include instructions as and when that happens. The other thing that you can be aware of is there are ways in which you can damage the spreadsheet. So please do take a look at the link where you see this image, which will take you to a web page to show you how to better preserve your spreadsheet. Please feel free to keep a blank version of the spreadsheet somewhere, so that if you do mess up a spreadsheet that you're using, you can in fact just open a new one, a blank one. And some of the spreadsheets only last for a year, and then you've got a blank one to start the following year. So do keep a blank copy as a backup somewhere. And lastly, wherever you see this image, you can click on it. It'll take you back to the store where you purchased this product to see if you've got anything, any more products. One last thing, to see a demo video, you can click on this on a link that looks like this in order to go to the demo video, but that'll take you to the most recent demo. If in fact we've done upgrades and you're using an older version and you'd like to see the demo relating to your version, then do click on the watch on YouTube link, which will take you to that specific video on YouTube. So I think that's all you need to know. So without further ado, let's move on to this demo video. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to this demo for the earning rate calculator. Now, if I'm honest, I would say that this is not necessarily one that I would have thought of making on my own, but I have had a request for it, and upon some investigation, one or two people saying that it could be quite useful to them as well. So I thought I'd go and make one. The purpose of the spreadsheet is for those of us who might be self-employed or freelancers or generally just kind of running around where you don't get paid a set salary but you're working obviously to earn money, but you're not being paid a set salary. How do you know at the end how much money you've actually made per hour for the work that you're doing? Very often we have an hourly rate that we use to do quotes and things, but obviously that doesn't take into consideration all the work that you're doing. So how do you actually work out how much money you're actually making for the work that you're doing? Well, what I've done here is a very simple spreadsheet in order to put the information in that you're doing, so you can keep track of your expenses and work out how much you're actually making per hour. Now, instead of asking you how many hours you're working every day and you having to put in the time each day for hours, what I've done is we put the working time in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and bank holidays. So you can actually put in how many hours you usually work on those days. If you don't work on a Saturday, just put in 0, for example, or Sunday or bank holidays. If you put whatever hours you put in there, it's going to take those hours. It's going to check how many of each of those days are in the month and then take the hours accordingly. The other thing that you just need to do at the start is put in the start date of the year. Now, I've obviously put it here 1st of Jan. You don't have to start on a calendar year. You can start midway through. I would suggest starting on the 1st of a month, because if you don't start on the 1st of the month, the graphs and things are only going to have 12 months. So the last month shown in the graph will be the last full month. So if you, for example, start midway through January and you go through to the following January, the last month will be the December, and it'll show the half month of January on the December month as well. So ideally, if you start on the 1st, the graphs will all work out properly. And then put the times in. Remember, when you're putting in time, you actually put in the hours and the minutes. So if you're going to be spending 9 hours, put the 9 with the 2 dots, 0, 0, as in 9 hours. If you just put 8, for example, for 8 hours, it's going to take it at 8 days and put it in as 192. So you can fill those in for the working hours for each day and put the start of the year, and then you're basically set to go. Here's your expenses tab. I've put in a few. I've put an expense per line for each of those days. You don't necessarily need to put the entire day on one line. You can put the same day a few times. Just make sure the dates fall within your date range. Put in a short description. Money out, money in. So you don't have to put both. You can put one or the other. If it's not actually money, The other thing that I've allowed for in the spreadsheet are subcontractors, because the people who have requested have said, well, they also use subcontractors, so they want that to be shown as well as to how many hours their subcontractors are working. So you've got a subcontractor tab there where you can add names, put the subcontractor name in there that you want to use, and the number of hours that they worked on that particular day, and that will work out the charge. Now, when you want to work out the charge, so if you this will be a drop-down list, but for now, let's just put in here subby 1, and then you go and you say that they worked 1 hour. Put 1 hour. This here, when you select it, says £20. So that's worked out at their hourly rate. So if they've worked the number of hours that you said, and you've put in, and you can just select their rate, because on their subcontractor sheet you've got the names and you've got the rate. So it knows what kind of rate they're working at. So you can just select that. Now this is where you've got a little bit of flexibility, because if you pay them a different fee, you can override it. So if you end up paying them £30 for some reason, you can put in 30%. The value is not the calculated value. Click OK to continue and leave correct. So if you know that's correct, you can click OK. Why would you pay them more? Well, there could be one of two things. Either you're paying them more because they did different work. Alternatively, they may have actually done an hour and a half and billed you for an hour and a half. Now, whether you change this to an hour and a half or an hour is up to you. If you leave it at an hour and change and put that in as £30, what you're effectively saying is you could use this column as what time you thought they should be working, and this is the payment. Effectively, what's going to happen now is when you go back to the subcontract, you're going to subby 1, you're going to see here that there's actually a difference that you paid them. So you paid them £10. It says a negative. What that means is that you've overpaid them, so this is out of your pocket. So you can choose when to put that. You could either have gone, well, actually that was an hour and a half, and then if you go back, it's going to show as level because that's what you should have paid them. Or you can leave it as an hour as what you thought it was, and then if you come back to sub, you'll see that you've put out money out of pocket. That's totally up to you how you use that. Just remember how you use that, because just make sure that you always do it the same way around. You can either change the hours and then just show the charge correct, or you can leave the hours as you thought they were, because then obviously that'll build up some information for you as far as how often you undervaluing, undercosting time, things like that. But I'll leave that up to you to decide how you use that. Subcontractors we've been through, you've got the list and the hourly rate. You can just add names on here and their hourly rate. That tallies up the total amount of time that they've worked, the total charge, and shows you the difference between the calculated hourly rate and what you've actually paid them. Last but not least is the report. What goes on the report? Monthly income versus expense. You can see subcontractors and money out. The subcontractor is obviously a pound value that it's used, so you can see what subcontractor, what's money out, where's your money in the background. Here you've got an annual breakdown, the overall. This figure is actually the one that you're looking for. What does that figure mean? That figure means since the beginning of the financial year until the current date when I'm filming this video, i.e. the date that you're on your spreadsheet, that is the value that you've earned per hour. So how does it get to that value? It very simply takes all of your income and divides it out by the time. So your income less expense divided by time. So that's what the money that you've actually made personally in what you've done per hour. So that's the figure that you'll be looking at. Here you can see your working time, how many hours you've worked per month and how many hours have been subcontracted. Obviously this will change because on certain months you might have more weekdays or more weekends or so on and so forth. Here's your rate per month. So this is the same calculation as what it does there, but it actually takes each month. So it looks at the income you've got coming in that month and the expense. You can see which months your hourly rate's gone up and down. And here you can see obviously each of the different months, the income less expense. So there's the difference between income less expense. There's the hours that have been worked, and there's your hourly rate. And here it breaks down to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So obviously depending on the number of hours you've got, it takes your hourly rate and multiplies it out. So you can see which days, the longer you're working per day, the more money you should be making. And then last but not least, you scroll down to your subcontractors, and here you can see your total time, the total time spent by each subcontractor. as well as how much money is being paid at the rate. If there were prices, if we go back to the expenses and say that this last charge here was 60, that's right, and we go back to report, now we'll see there's some green on there, which means that was paid under rate. So that money was, so that blue line should have been right up to there, but it wasn't because we paid them that much less. If we paid over the rate, it'll turn red, and at the rate will be blue. So you can see obviously all your subcontractors. And then finally at the bottom here, it's your total paid subcontractors is £27 less than the calculated value. That's just the total of all of these figures over here. So yes, that is one that we probably wouldn't have thought about making. It works out your hourly rate. It's fairly straightforward in order to capture your expenses and any time that you outsource to subcontractors. We hope that helps you if that's something that you need, and we wish you all the best for your business. Goodbye.